In what economic analysts call a pivotal moment in North American trade relations, we're witnessing how a single tariff decision can destabilize industries and reshape the global economy. Our investigation reveals the deep connections between the United States and Canada, with Canada serving as the primary export market for 34 U.S. states. Each Canadian province has unique trade relationships with different U.S. states, creating one of the world's most intricate economic partnerships, explains Dr. James Morrison, senior economics professor at Georgetown University. What we're seeing now isn't just a trade dispute, it's threatening industries, jobs, and prices. The pattern of trade tensions dates back to 1929, when the stock market crash led to the Great Depression. President Hoover's Smoot-Hawley Act raised tariffs by 20% on goods. Canada, France, and Spain retaliated with their own tariffs, with Canada targeting 16 American products representing nearly a third of U.S. exports. In 1982, another dispute erupted over lumber. The U.S. claimed Canada's government-regulated pricing system gave unfair advantages to their industry. Today, Canadian lumber faces a 25% tariff, yet the U.S. continues to import nearly half its lumber from Canada. The Bush administration's 2002 steel tariffs exemplify this pattern, though Canada and Mexico were exempted. The Trump era intensified these tensions, starting with tariffs on solar panels and washing machines before escalating into broader conflicts. What we're observing isn't just about numbers, notes trade expert Sarah Thompson. These decisions ripple through communities, affecting everything from manufacturing jobs to consumer prices. This situation underscores a crucial lesson. In our interconnected economy, no tariff exists in isolation. As tensions continue, both nations face the challenge of balancing protective measures with modern global trade realities. In a concerning development for North American trade relations, former President Trump's reintroduction of steep tariffs on steel and aluminum imports is sending shockwaves through the manufacturing sector. The new measures impose a 25% tariff on steel and 10% on aluminum imports from Canada and Mexico, potentially devastating industries already struggling with supply chain challenges. Economic experts warn that history may be repeating itself. Previous similar tariffs in 2018 led to the loss of 75,000 American manufacturing jobs, according to economists Katie Russ and Lydia Cox. The impact on Canada was severe, with steel exports to the U.S. plummeting by 40% and aluminum shipments dropping by more than half by May 2019. The automotive industry stands particularly vulnerable in this trade dispute. With integrated supply chains across North America, car parts regularly cross borders during production. If the White House follows through with additional tariffs, Canadian metals could face a combined tariff rate of 50%, potentially destabilizing manufacturing throughout the continent. Canada's strategic position is crucial. The U.S. heavily depends on Canadian aluminum, with 2024 imports reaching 3.2 million tons, double the volume from the next 9 countries combined. Quebec, through Premier François Legault, has already hinted at countermeasures, including possible export tariffs on aluminum products. While Canadian officials continue diplomatic efforts in Washington, historical precedent suggests diplomacy alone may not suffice. The stakes are high for both nations' industrial bases, with thousands of jobs and hundreds of companies at risk. During the previous tariff war, 2,000 workers were laid off, and 500 companies required emergency government support. As both nations brace for potential escalation, the situation mirrors trade tensions seen with China, where tariff disputes led to significant economic damage. The outcome of this renewed trade conflict could redefine North American industrial cooperation for years to come. Breaking news: trade tensions escalate as auto industry faces unprecedented tariff impact. In a developing story affecting every American car buyer, experts warn that proposed tariffs could increase new vehicle prices by up to $10,000, with standard cars seeing at least a $3,000 price hike. This development comes as trade relations between North American partners reach a critical point. Auto parts typically cross North American borders up to 8 times during production. Each crossing would incur new tariffs, creating a snowball effect of rising costs. Industry analysts at Wolfe Research confirm these figures, painting a troubling picture for consumers. The stakes are high as Canada and Mexico represent nearly half of all U.S. automotive trade. These nations serve both as parts suppliers and major customers for American vehicles. Steel imports are also in the crosshairs. Canada and Mexico provide approximately 40% of U.S. steel imports and over half of the flat-rolled steel essential for vehicle manufacturing. The proposed 20% tariff on Canadian and Mexican steel would impact production costs, potentially crippling American manufacturers. While traditional auto manufacturing faces challenges, Canada is emerging as a powerhouse in the electric vehicle supply chain. The country possesses vast reserves of critical minerals, cobalt, graphite, lithium, and nickel, essential for EV batteries. Canada is one of few Western nations with abundant access to all four resources. This strategic advantage could reshape North American automotive dynamics. Canada ranks as the world's second-largest producer of niobium and fourth in indium production. The situation raises a question. Are short-term protectionist measures worth the long-term economic consequences? While tariffs might boost domestic industries, such gains often come at the expense of jobs in other sectors. More developments are expected as this story continues. Stay tuned for updates on how these trade decisions could impact your wallet and North American manufacturing. Good evening. I'm bringing you critical developments in the escalating trade tensions between the United States and Canada, with implications for North American economic relations. Our top story focuses on Canada's position as a powerhouse in critical minerals and energy resources. Canada has identified 34 critical minerals essential for future economic development, with 21 already in production. This comes as global supply chains face unprecedented pressure. Joanna Kyriazis, Director of Clean Energy Canada, describes these minerals as Canada's trump card in the trade dispute. "We have what the world needs and what few others possess," she told the National Observer. China currently processes 60–70% of the world's lithium and cobalt, controlling 90% of rare earth elements crucial for semiconductor production. Recent Chinese export restrictions have sent shockwaves through global markets. Tesla's stock has dropped 5%, leading a sell-off in the EV sector, with General Motors and Toyota falling 3%, affecting the entire automotive industry. Canada's leverage extends beyond minerals. As the world's fourth-largest oil producer and sixth-largest natural gas producer, Canada supplies crucial energy to the United States. Nearly 4 million barrels of oil per day flow south, with 70% processed in Midwest refineries. Phillips 66 warns that escalating tariffs could force production cuts in Midwest and Rocky Mountain refineries due to limited alternatives. These facilities, designed for Canadian crude, could face operational challenges. The International Energy Agency projects the global critical minerals market could double to $70 billion by 2040. As trade tensions persist, will Canada leverage its resource advantages against U.S. tariff threats? This is a developing story, and we'll continue to monitor these economic developments. Breaking news: trade tensions reshape North American economic landscape. In a remarkable development, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has transformed a trade dispute into a rallying cry for national unity. Recent polls show 80% of Canadians opposing any potential merger with the United States, highlighting the growing divide between these longtime allies. While speculation about continental unification remains theoretical, requiring unlikely approval from both houses of Congress, the real concern lies in Canada's economic vulnerability. With 3/4 of Canadian exports destined for U.S. markets, heightened tariffs threaten to send shockwaves through the Canadian economy, potentially jeopardizing thousands of jobs. Provincial governments have launched Buy Canadian campaigns to keep money within national borders. Some Canadians are even canceling their U.S. travel plans in protest, reminiscent of how countries managed economic pressures during times of international tension. Business leaders on both sides of the border are holding their breath. Even if the trade war ended tomorrow, experts warn that the damage is already done. Supply chains built over decades have been disrupted, and restoration could take years. The situation bears similarities to historical trade conflicts, like those that affected the northern Black Sea region in recent years. The key difference here is the deeply interconnected nature of the North American economy. What's next for North America's economic future? Is this political theater or a genuine threat of economic crisis? Will Canada retaliate, and how might this reshape global trade patterns? These questions loom large as businesses and policymakers navigate uncertain waters. The implications extend beyond North America, affecting global supply chains and international trade relationships. As one economist noted, when elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. In this case, the grass, might be the thousands of businesses and workers caught in the crossfire. Stay tuned for continuing coverage of this developing story.